We are live in 3, 2, 1.
Expect more cases, and this is a good time to prepare.
The CDC says coronavirus is spreading quickly around the world, but President Trump says Americans shouldn't be worried.
A bill that would abolish daylight savings time in Utah is awaiting the governor's signature after passing through the legislature.
We just wanted to kind of give back to people. Not everyone has it as lucky as we do.
And student clubs are giving back to charities for Care Week at BYU. Welcome to Newsline. It's Thursday, February 27th. I'm Emma Benson.
And I'm Sierra Phipps. President Trump says Vice President Mike Pence will lead the team tasked with the U.S. coronavirus response. Trump administration officials said the risk to Americans remains low, but the CDC says there will be more cases.
Karen Kaifa has the latest from Washington.
President Trump making a rare appearance in the White House briefing room Wednesday evening, pushing back on skepticism about his administration's preparedness to handle the coronavirus.
Because of all we've done, the risk to the American people remains very low.
The president was flanked by members of the White House Coronavirus Task Force and Vice President Mike Pence, who he says will lead their efforts.
They're totally brilliant, and we're doing really well, and Mike is going to be in charge, and Mike will report back to me.
The CDC saying it's not a question of if coronavirus will spread in the U.S., it is a question of when.
We do expect more cases, and this is a good time to prepare.
Large outbreaks in other regions, countries like Italy and Iran, have sparked concerns about the virus's spread and its impact on global travel and the world economy. Some U.S. cities and local governments taking their own precautions. New York City has at least 1,200 hospital beds ready in case of an outbreak. Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti says public areas at LAX are being disinfected every hour.
We're making sure that those points of entry and those places where we could see somebody come in and create a vector are as secure as we can possibly make them.
President Trump said the U.S. may add travel restrictions from other impacted countries, but not right now. In Washington, I'm Karen Kaifa.
A Utah woman who is quarantined on a Princess cruise with her husband is now hoping to come home soon.
So, got results back today, and it's glass half empty, half full.
Utah couple Jerry and Mark Jorgensen were on a cruise in Japan when the coronavirus was found on the ship. After being on the ship about 2 weeks, they were able to get off a week ago. Jerry tested positive for the virus in Japan, and Mark tested positive after flying back to California.
My whole goal is to make it on that flight that's been chartered for Americans that have been in Japanese hospitals.
Jerry says that she has to be tested negative 2 times in a row in order to go home. The earliest she can come home is March 4th.
Brigham Young University has suspended all travel to China and South Korea until further notice. BYU has canceled all study abroad and school trips to China and South Korea. They warned students to be cautious when traveling to foreign countries and to consult a doctor beforehand. They urge students to only travel to affected places if it's essential. It's midterm time at Brigham Young University, and this is the time of year can be very stressful for college students. Newsline reporter Desiree Assis has some tips on how students can manage that stress and get help.
During the midterm season, many students meet at the library where they spend long hours going through intensive studying and preparation for their exams. The lack of sleep, heavy workload, and the need to meet deadlines are major factors of students becoming victims of stress.
Balancing my schoolwork and getting homework in on time can be hard when I am feeling anxious or what have you. So that's the biggest stressor for me.
While stress is very normal and can act as motivation for students, too much stress can definitely interfere with academic success.
I have anxiety and depression, and so sometimes I need extra time to complete assignments, which is helpful because I do have accommodation letters, but there is that stress of being able to balance the demands of my time academically and, my mental health.
Students who experience this stress are not alone. Most universities around the country offer help and counseling to students who are struggling. Brigham Young University accepts walk-in visits at their Counseling and Psychological Services office. There, students talk with professional counselors that help them navigate through managing stress during the school year. Students can also stop by to get training flyers or visit their website where they can find many helpful resources as well. Some of the helpful tips students will find are how to do breathing exercises, educational TED Talks about stress, and apps they can download on their phones that help with meditation and sleep. Friends and family can also play an important role in helping students succeed. According to the BYU Counseling Psychological Services website, if you want to help a student who is experiencing stress, you can listen to the student, be supportive, and encourage them to make an action plan or seek further help. Reporting for NewsLine in Provo, I'm Desi Assis.
Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders will be in the Beehive State the day before Super Tuesday. Sanders will hold a rally next Monday at noon at the Utah State Fair Park Central Mall in Salt Lake City. This will be the first campaign event for the Democratic frontrunner in Utah this election cycle. Other candidates who have visited the state include former New York City Mayor Mike Bloomberg, former South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg, Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren, and Hawaii Representative Tulsi Gabbard. The 2020 presidential primary election is being conducted mainly by mail. Ballots returned by mail must be postmarked no later than Monday, March 2nd. They may also be returned on Election Day to voting centers during polling hours, or can be dropped off to any ballot drop boxes no later than 8 p.m. on Election Day. For more information on vote by mail, visit the Salt Lake County Clerk website, www.slco.org.
A bill to get rid of daylight saving time has passed the legislature and is headed to Governor Herbert's desk. If the bill is passed, other Western states would also have to agree on the change. Currently, 4 other Western states are also in the process of passing a similar bill. SB 59 plans to go in effect by November 1st. A proposal that would ban most abortions in the state of Utah passed out of the committee yesterday. Senate Bill 174 would make it a felony to perform an abortion except in cases of rape, incest, or serious threat to the health of the mother. The bill now heads to the full Senate for its consideration. Efforts to clarify the penalties for participating in bigamy has passed the 3rd reading and is now with the Senate. Participation in bigamy is considered to be an infraction. The bill also specifies the procedure taken if a minor is involved.
A new Salt Lake City Olympic bid committee agrees to be transparent and frugal in their design for a possible 2030 or 2034 Winter Olympics. The bid committee chair told board members that every conversation they have about the Olympics should be open to the public. She says the remark was not a direct reference to a bribery scandal that nearly derailed the plans for the 2002 Winter Olympics. As the committee continues to polish their plan, they will include new modern ideas.
This week is Care Week at Brigham Young University. NewsLine reporter Natalie Janes is live on campus. Natalie, what is Care Week?
During Care Week, more than 100 different clubs at BYU had the opportunity to donate money to help end things like human trafficking and hunger.
Clubs Night happens every Tuesday night in the Wilkinson Center. The Social Dance Club, Fencing Club, Karate Club, and the Magic Club have meetings where students can learn new dances, moves, or tricks. But this week, Clubs Night was dedicated for charity.
We just wanted to kind of give back to people. Not everyone has it as lucky as we do.
The Magic Club on campus, called Abracadabra, ran a food drive as part of their contribution to Care Week and will give the donations to Community Action Services, a local food bank.
I want you to take this number.
Abracadabra also had a magic show and hopes to bring more awareness to their food drive and their club. They performed many different tricks throughout the night, and one of their members even taught me a little bit of their coin magic.
This. You're just going to kind of wave, do a little magician's wave, and just put that hand down to your side. And open your hand, and it's gone.
Abracadabra is not the only club donating to charities as part of Care Week. But those who participate say the real magic happens when they serve others.
We're going to have a bunch of different a cappella groups get together, sing. They're going to be donating to a group called Encircle.
Many will also attend the 30th annual Hunger Banquet tomorrow night, where all proceeds go to Choice Humanitarian. There's a 5K run on Saturday sponsored by the Anti-Human Trafficking Club and the Triathlon Club, and proceeds will go to the Underground Railroad to help in ending human trafficking.
Thanks, Natalie.
Just a city boy and a Salt Lake City boy to be exact. A Utah teen is hitting all the right notes on NBC's The Voice.
I found a love for me.
16-year-old Tate Brusa sang a rendition of Ed Sheeran's Perfect on The Voice this week. He impressed the coaches, especially Nick Jonas. Brusa says he got his raspy tone from damaging his vocal cords when he was young. He got his first guitar when he was 7 and started songwriting soon after. Brusa will perform on Jonas's team for future episodes.
A BYU professor is making science fiction a reality. What kind of Star Wars technology he's working to develop.
The body cam footage just released why Florida police arrested a 6-year-old girl.
And 4 teenagers burned down a building. We'll tell you how police responded.
You might want to take advantage of the sunny skies today. Find out the conditions this week in my weather report next.
Excuse me, ma'am. Would you like to have my seat?
A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
Get along down the road. We got a long, long way to go. Scared to live, scared to die. We ain't perfect, but we try. Get along while we can. Always give love the upper hand. Paint a wall, learn to dance. Call your mom, buy a boat, sing a song, make a friend. Can't we all get along?
A Wisconsin community is in mourning today after a man killed multiple people in America's latest mass shooting.
This site, this Miller Brewing site, has been part of the Miller family and part of the city of Milwaukee for 165 years. And this is the saddest day that we have had.
A 51-year-old man stormed into a Milwaukee brewing complex Wednesday and shot and killed 5 people. The man was an employee of the brewery. Police say the shooter eventually turned the gun on himself.
4 teens flee the scene of an arson, and it's caught all on video. Police say the 4 kids were at the abandoned train station after skipping school and started the fire with a lighter. The teens hid in a gas station bathroom across the street while firefighters battled the flames. 1 firefighter was hurt, and the historic site now has extensive damage.
East Africa is experiencing the worst locust invasion in 25 years. For 3 months now, massive swarms of desert locusts, roughly the length of a finger, have been eating their way through East Africa. As the number of locusts continues to grow, so do the fears over food security. According to the United Nations, the swarms can multiply as much as 500 times by June if not stopped.
A California police officer saves a man from a burning home, and it is all caught on a body camera. Take a look at the video.
Police department, anyone in here? Corey! Corey!
Officer Brown is now being hailed a hero. The man inside is expected to make a full recovery.
Video of the arrest of a 6-year-old girl has just been released.
Alessandra Harris has more on the video. Alessandra.
This video shows 6-year-old Kaya Roll getting arrested, with the officer zip tying her hands behind her back as she cries and pleads for help. The police were called to the school after Kaya had a tantrum and hit 3 school workers. The arresting officer, Dennis Turner, detained another 6-year-old boy on the same day he arrested Kaya. Turner had previously been disciplined and suspended for misconduct he had committed. After that day, he was fired from the police force. As can be expected, people have been appalled by this footage. Twitter user Jude posted, "I'm relieved that this Orlando police officer has been fired, but I am in tears. heartbroken watching this 6-year-old arrested, handcuffed, and pulled into a cop car. Some, however, continue to support the police force. This user arguing, saying that the kid was kicking and hitting people. Liberal interference means teachers and admins are not allowed to remove her themselves, so they called the cops. How is the cop to blame for doing his job when parents and school officials failed to do theirs? This video has been retweeted more than 100,000 times on Twitter, as well as having a total of over 1 million views on YouTube.
Sci-fi fans, listen up. New technology developed by a BYU professor could take holograms to the next level. NewsLine's Eliza Smith-Driggs joins us now. Eliza, this new technology could change the way we watch movies.
That's right. The BYU professor is pioneering the technology. You might not know his name yet, but you will recognize this image he created.
So our team at BYU was the first to use these laser tractor beams to create 3D images in the air.
BYU professor Daniel Smalley and his team used what they call volumetric imaging to recreate this 3D image of Princess Leia pleading for help in the 4th Star Wars movie. Smalley says they made the image by taking a single light particle and moving it through a complicated path.
The way that it works is that we take a laser beam, we focus it, but it's an imperfect focus. It's got a little dark spot inside the focus, and so we're able to put a little particle in that dark spot, and it's trapped. And now we can steer that particle around, and as we steer it through the space, we can illuminate it with red, green, blue light. And then it glows, and then it's as if you're making an image out of really teeny tiny fireflies, 3D printing it in space.
In the future, they hope to scale the display by having many trapped particles move in a simple path.
There were certainly many steps to getting to volumetric technology, but I think one of the earliest moments was when I watched the movie Iron Man, the first Iron Man movie. There's a scene where Tony Stark has this 3D CAD file of a gauntlet, and he sticks his hand inside the gauntlet.
Smalley says perhaps one day Siri or Alexa might become embodied as holograms or volumetric images that project from your device.
This intermediate step of being able to create small images that have the properties of the Princess Leia projector does hearten us, does make us feel that maybe that science fiction future isn't that far away.
While his team is making great progress, Professor Smalley says it will still take about 3 to 6 years to scale Princess Leia to size.
Thanks, Eliza.
In the next few weeks, spring will come to Provo and the public pools will see an increase of swimmers. Newsline reporter Victoria Biozovic joins us from Provo to show us what crews do to keep pool water clean and healthy.
Yes, the weather is getting warmer and people are preparing to spend their days in the Provo Recreation Center.
The public pool of Provo Recreation Center is concerned to clean his facility according to the Utah State Health Code, in which the minimum sanitary rules are established.
We far surpass the requirements of the law. For us, we have a daily throughput of over 7,000 people. And so with that, we have a responsibility to keep them safe and clean while they're here and to stay ahead of it. And so you'll see a number of things like the UV filtration systems, big giant tanks that are behind the wall.
Users and parents list health as one of the most important facts for the community pool.
Up to 125 staff in just lifeguards to keep us safe during the summer, and up to 25 on at a time. You have various regulations set out by the county and by the state for how many people guarding particular types of water or types of activities.
The Provo Recreational Center expects over 25,000 people during the spring and summer season. The Provo Recreation Center gets a high number of visitors all year around, and the number will increase during the spring and summer season. For this reason, they have so many different ideas and activities for the visitors.
Focus on the recreation continuum. We want to make sure that from 6 months old up to 100 years old, we have different recreation programming options for you. So a lot of people are able to just enjoy the facility.
Spring break is around the corner and public pools are prepared to refresh for the season.
Go. For more information, visit Provo website and check their hours. I'm Victoria Biozovic reporting live in Utah County for Newsline.
school bus slid on snow and off the road, then flipped onto its side in Adams County in Illinois Tuesday morning. 3 students were on board. 2 of them were taken to a hospital for an evaluation, but no serious injuries were reported. Authorities say the driver was going slow and slick road conditions are to blame. Back here in Utah, we see that today and tomorrow we're going to get sunny skies, but over the weekend there is an expected weather system coming in from the Pacific Northwest that is going to give us chances of rain and even snow going into Sunday in northern Utah. So be prepared for that. For today's highs and lows, we see that in northern Utah, Logan, we have a high of 41. In Salt Lake City and Provo, we have 51 and 48, seeing those higher temperatures as springtime is near. And down in St. George, we have a high of 64. For our lows, Logan at 21. And for our 5-day forecast, we see that tomorrow we're going to have sun, and on Saturday we're going to have partial coverage and then some snow and rain on Sunday. For our 5-day forecast in northern Utah, we're going to get some sun and then again that snow, and then a chance of rain and snow on Tuesday with highs in the high 50s and then dropping as that weather system comes in. So be prepared for a little bit of colder weather over the weekend, but make sure you enjoy the next 2 days of sun that we have coming up, and we'll be right back.
150 over 90.
180 over 111.
160 over 110. I had a stroke.
Your blood pressure numbers could change your life. Lowering them could save you from having a stroke. If you've stopped your treatment plan, restart it or talk to your doctor about creating one that works better for you. Start taking the right steps at manageyourbp.org.
Now I'm, trying to get better, stronger than ever. Get it.
Get it.
Get it.
Give your town a reason to celebrate, because every Goodwill item you bring home brings job training and more to your community. Goodwill, bring good home.
The BYU women's basketball season is coming to an end as they will host Pepperdine this evening. The Cougars are 16-10 for the season and tied with San Diego for second place in the WCC. Following tonight's game that tips off at 7, BYU will host LMU for their Saturday game and their final home game. They will then prepare to compete in the WCC Women's Basketball Championships in Las Vegas. BYU baseball is on the road for a 4-game series at New Mexico in Albuquerque. Game 1 is today at 3, and then they will play a doubleheader tomorrow and their final game Saturday. This is BYU's first trip to Albuquerque since 2010, and the Cougs are currently 5-3. The Jazz are trying to stay positive after losing their 4th consecutive game against Gordon Hayward and the Boston Celtics last night.
Here's Mitchell, another 3.
Despite Donovan Mitchell scoring 37 points and head coach Quinn Snyder switching up the starting lineup, the team continued to lack defensively and fell 114 to 103. The Jazz have lost 9 of their last 13 games and continue to drop in conference standings, where they currently sit at 6. Despite the threat of the spreading coronavirus, the Tokyo Games are set to go ahead as planned.
Between the IOC and the Tokyo organizers, our objective is to have the games celebrated this year.
Yesterday, Tokyo called a news conference to address the former International Olympic Committee Vice President's comments that organizers have a 3-month window to decide the fate of the Games. The outbreak has killed 5 people in Japan, but the Games are set to open on July 24th. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a grappling martial art loved by many. NewsLine reporter Blake Aurelian went to check out the BYU Jiu-Jitsu Club to see what it has to offer.
All right, let's do it. Ready? The BYU Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Club is a place for students to learn self-defense and submission grappling. One of the teachers is recent BYU graduate Robert Jemias, a blue belt training out of Paul Tom's Academy in American Fork.
He essentially trains the instructors to come here and teach a club.
The Jiu-Jitsu Club to many is a fun way to meet friends and learn a new skill, but the biggest benefit might be the security that comes with it.
The biggest things that it's given me is a sense of security, knowing that if I'm in a tense situation, I know how to properly disengage, and if it happens to be something that escalates, I know how to handle myself during that escalation.
Robert has been training for over 3 years. However, the difference between a typical Jiu-Jitsu academy and the BYU Jiu-Jitsu Club is that most of the students are beginners, looking to build a new skill and boost their self-esteem along the way.
It's a great way for people to be able to not just have some physical activity, but to also build a little bit of confidence in themselves.
That confidence goes a long way in a sport where chokeholds and joint locks are the name of the game.
Submission grappling is a really tough sport, and Jiu-Jitsu is a great way for them to learn how to handle themselves. It's a good way to learn discipline.
So whether you're a beginner or you've been training for a few years, the BYU Jiu-Jitsu Club is for anybody. Reporting for NewsLine, I'm Blake Aurelian.
Club meets every Wednesday at 7 p.m. in the Wilkinson Center and is open to everyone. That's all for sports. We'll be right back.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. This is unacceptable, and something Feeding America is working to solve. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States, including yours. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Reality shows about relationships aren't just for whippersnappers. ABC is now casting senior citizens who are ready for a romance.
The show comes from the producers of The Bachelor. The casting call says they are looking for men and women in their golden years. Applicants have to be legal U.S. residents, active, outgoing, and single. More information on how to apply for the show is posted on the network's website. Thanks for joining us today for NewsLine.
Have a great day.